Hey guys, Scripted here with another video, and the reason I'm doing this video is because this is indicative of this entire issue is with the sequel trilogy of Star Wars is we're still trying to figure out what they're doing because everything they're doing is not helping. I've been making videos talking about the comic books, talking about all these other things that they're trying to fill in the story issues and plot holes, and they're really just making it worse. I mean, I don't know how they thought they were going to be able to fix these issues. And it really speaks to the original writing. And where was everybody? Where were the people saying, wait a minute, if we do that, then this is what's going to happen? And so the first one today, I have two today of these articles trying to figure out what they're doing. Star Wars tries and fails to redeem its worst sequel moment. Okay, so this is related to, I did a video about this comic book, I don't know, like a week ago or whatever. I'm not going to go like super deep into it, but Kylo Ren is trying to learn more about his grandfather Darth Vader. So this article is supposed to be about Luke. With Luke Skywalker's spirit and bluntly asks who killed the Jedi Master. Luke replies that he simply sacrificed himself in service of something greater and died for my friends and family and for people I don't know all across the galaxy, insisting that it was what my life is for. And my thought process was, well, not really. You didn't die for a bunch of people across the galaxy. Like, what are you talking about? If you had lived and saved the people around the galaxy, then you would have maybe eventually died for the people around the galaxy, but you didn't. You literally force Skyped yourself or force hologrammed yourself or whatever to save like 15 people. But what's crazy is I never saw the Red Letter Media like review or whatever of The Last Jedi, and I didn't even think of this. But this is the issue. They're still trying to fix this, and it's so stupid. And this makes, again, just like so, every time they do this, every time they try to fix their stupid sequels, it's another jab at either Leia, Han, Luke, or all three. Every time they have to, every explanation revolves around them being absolute idiots. And it's funny because they were pretty obviously terribly written when you sat and you watched the movie. But analyzing it further, they were destroyed, like beyond destroyed. And here's another prime example, okay? It's a sweet sentiment, and this issue shows how much superstar writer Charles Soule understands these iconic sci-fi characters. No, it doesn't. However, Luke's outright denial that anyone killed him seems like a transparent attempt to take the heat off Kylo Ren, whom most fans blame. I don't, for the death of his former master. Furthermore, this emphasizes his desire to sacrifice himself in the name of the greater good. Seems like an attempt to mollify fans who are upset by the shocking decision to kill the most famous Star Wars character off in the climax of The Last Jedi. Again, he very much could have died. Nothing wrong with these characters dying. They just have to go out the right way. They have to go out the heroes that they are. Not they have to be bums and losers to try and prop up Kylo Ren or Rey or whatever. However, with respect to Soule, a writer I admire, I'm just not buying any of this. Luke Skywalker saying that nobody killed him is really splitting hairs because he only died after force projecting across half the galaxy and fighting his nephew as a big distraction to allow the resistance to escape, which I said was kind of pointless because I was like, it took Rey 2 seconds to lift those rocks. By the time they would have gotten in there to go after the resistance or whatever, I don't think it would have mattered. I think they would have been gone anyway. They got the Falcon there. I don't know. To me, however they filmed that whole scene, it felt like it took them a while to get to the back entrance, right? They saw the dog thing go there, and it took them a while to get there. It feels like even if the First Order had exited their ships or exited their walkers, right? Then they got to walk across the field. Then they got to walk into the base, figure out where the Resistance people are because there's no obvious back entrance or secret hideout entrance. The Resistance didn't even know about it. It was that dog thing that kind of showed them. So by the time they did all that, I was like, it wouldn't matter anyway. They wouldn't know where the Resistance people even are. They'd be running around this massive base looking for them, but they're already outside in the back, right? Like, it's not like there was a sign, an exit sign. So it's not like they would go in there. And again, by the time they exited all of their vehicles and walked in there, that takes 20 minutes at least, right? It takes time. Like, so this 30 seconds or 2 minutes or minute or whatever Luke supposedly saved them, I don't think it would have mattered anyway. They wouldn't have known where the Resistance people even were. They were way at the back of this base. It's very silly. He subsequently died from the sheer exhaustion of distracting Kylo Ren, blah, blah, blah. None of this really redeems Kylo Ren, nor does Luke Skywalker's talk about his noble sacrifice redeem the stupidity of his death in The Last Jedi. Personally, I am haunted by the observation from Red Letter Media that when the Resistance was cut down to 3 ships worth of people, they could have gone in 3 different directions. This would have forced the pursuing First Order ship to only chase a single vessel, sparing the lives of everyone on the other 2 ships. Yeah, that's true. That's really dumb. As RLM pointed out, the Resistance started out with about 400 people near the beginning of The Last Jedi, all of whom are survivors of the First Order's sudden attack. Which, by the way, does that even feel like... I know there wasn't like a ton of people in the OT, but like, it felt bigger. You know what I mean? It felt like it was an actual rebellion. This felt so like weird and small. And you're almost wondering like, why did the First Order need that many resources to deal with however many people? What was there, like 40 people on Crate? Like, why did they need like 15 walkers and all this stuff? Like, it felt like major overkill. Assuming the members were equally distributed, splitting up the ships would have meant that around 267 Resistance members survived the events of the film. But because Leia and Holdo keep the fleet together, the entirety of the Resistance, just a little over a dozen people, could fit within the cozy confines of the Millennium Falcon. That's so true. So Leia has to be stupid again. So they are just taking a dump on Leia with everything. Yeah, that made no sense. That's true. If they would have just split up, it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, they would have followed one of them, but the fact that they stayed together was really dumb. Like, that makes no sense. It's like the more you think about this stuff, the worse it gets. And it's so funny because they're trying to, with these comics and with all this stuff, make it make sense, and it's just making it worse. This has always, and frankly will always, make Luke Skywalker's noble sacrifice seem rather meaningless. He didn't die to save untold millions from the wrath of the First Order. He died to save a baker's dozen from the awful decisions of their military leaders. Had the people in charge simply made smarter tactical choices, Luke, not to mention more than 250 additional Resistance members, would still be alive. Yeah, this is so horrible. I can't believe how horrible it is. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I've said it a million times. There is no fixing this. You can write comic books till the cows come home. It's not going to fix it until they just say this is alternate universe. They have to redo them. They have to. This is horrible. You know, it's funny too, all that talk about like, oh, they're going to remake the originals and change them and make... Well, yeah, that's going to fix things. Like, no, redo these. Get rid of these. These are horrible. Just recast everybody. It's fine. And just redo them. Because this is, like, there's no fixing this. And that's really, I think, where a lot of us want this to get to, is the point where it's such a laughingstock that they're either forced to sell it or forced to fire everybody and redo it with other people. Because it's just, there's no possible way you can finesse your way out of these absolutely ridiculous story points with these comic books and stuff. And subsequently, you just can't. It doesn't work. Sorry, Charles Soule, but this comic doesn't really do much to rehabilitate Kylo Ren's character nor redeem the ending of The Last Jedi. In some ways, these pages make things even worse. Yes! Revealing how smug Luke Skywalker is over dying for no real reason. He says nobody killed him, but he's wrong. Disney killed the greatest character in Star Wars history, and they've spent years since then doing their best to kill the rest of the franchise. That is exactly right, and I'm totally shocked that, well, I don't know, should we be shocked that they didn't think of these things? Maybe they're just dumb people. They're just dumb. I don't know. They're just stupid. Because, yeah, that would have been like the base level military tactic, if you're Leia, would be, we got to split up, because if we don't, we're in big, big trouble here. we don't have the resources to fight this battle, so let's just split up, force them to follow one of us, and then whatever happens, happens. Hopefully you survive, but either way, we're all dead if we don't. So instead of 400 people, or instead of what could have been, 250 or whatever, 267 people, it's literally like, it's true, they're all in the Falcon. There's like 15 of them. Like I said earlier, I don't think that the whole like save you 2 minutes thing mattered anyway. Like think about it. So Kylo Ren's, instead of fighting Luke, he's gonna run into the base and just instantly know exactly that they're at the back and exactly where the exit is and know everything exactly. It's not gonna take him, 15 minutes of guys running around looking for them. They're just gonna know where they are. Like, come on. What a god-awful movie. Like, I can't believe that it just gets worse. It's just funny, right? Because people are like, oh, well, everybody loves the prequels now, and they hated them at the time, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, sure, yeah, people do like them more maybe than they did at the time, I guess. But the reality of it is that's not going to happen with the sequels. Because as they continue to put out subsequent material to try and explain it, it just gets worse. Because all you're doing is focusing attention on it and making people think about it. And then like this guy's saying, you start thinking about it, and then he remembers Red Letter Media talking about how dumb it is that they didn't do like a basic military tactic of splitting up so that they don't all get killed. But they didn't do that because Leia has to be stupid for plot to continue. This is the whole point. They have to redo these movies. They have to swallow their pride and come out and say they made a mistake. Continuing to put out these dumb comic books and these dumb books is not fixing anything. It's just making it worse. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section what you think. If you like this content, please like, subscribe. Always helps the channel. Feel free to check anything else on my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.